A millionaire businesswoman got trapped in an elevator with the repair technician. She spent an hour complaining about her company's incompetent CEO, not knowing the quiet man fixing the cables was actually him. When the elevator doors opened, her world collapsed. Because sometimes the person you're insulting is the one person who can destroy your career. Sarah Mitchell was the marketing director at Apex Solutions. At 28, she was ambitious and rapidly rising in her career. As she left her office on the 45th floor, heading to an important meeting, she never imagined she would experience the most embarrassing moment of her life that day. When she got on the elevator, she was alone. When she pressed the floor button, the elevator began moving normally. But suddenly, it jolted to a stop. It was stuck between the 40th and 41st floors. "Great," Sarah muttered. "Just when I need to give a presentation." A few minutes later, the elevator door cracked open and a man in work clothes with a tool bag entered. He was middle-aged, calm-looking, with gray hair. "Hello," the man said politely. "I'm a technician. I came to check the elevator malfunction. It might take a few minutes." Sarah was relieved. "Thank goodness. I'm Sarah Mitchell, marketing director. I need to get to this meeting." The man nodded and began working, opening his tool bag. "I understand. Is it an important meeting?" Sarah took a heavy breath. "Yes, very important. And of course the systems break down today. Everything in this company is like this anyway." The man looked up curiously. "What do you mean?" Sarah took this question as an invitation. Being stressed, she felt the need to talk. "I mean, this company is completely terribly managed. Our CEO, David Chen, that man is a complete disaster. He has no idea about anything." The man stopped his hands, but there was no change of expression on his face. "Is that so? What kind of problems are there?" Sarah began speaking enthusiastically. "Where do I start? The man has never worked in the field. He became CEO because his father left him the company as inheritance. He doesn't understand real business life at all." "I see," the man said quietly, continuing to look at the cables. "How is his communication with employees?" "Communication?" Sarah laughed bitterly. "The man never talks to employees. He only hangs out with upper management. He doesn't even know what condition we're in." The man looked thoughtful. "Maybe he wants to learn what employees really think, but doesn't know how to do it." Sarah shook her head. "No way. That man only cares about numbers, not people. Last month he cut our marketing budget by 30%, but didn't even explain why." "How did this affect your work?" "It affected it very badly. We had to cancel half our projects. 3 people from my team resigned, but Chen doesn't even care." The man continued working. "How is the overall situation of the company?" Sarah hesitated. "Honestly, it's not good. Competition is getting tougher, our market share is declining, but Chen doesn't want to see this. He always says everything is fine." "What do you think should be done?" This question made Sarah think. First, he should listen to employees. He should learn the real problems. Then he should go to the field and talk to customers. But he just sits in meeting rooms. The man nodded. "Logical suggestions. Have you ever discussed these issues with him?" Sarah laughed with a bitter expression. "Me? Why would he talk to me? I'm just a mid-level manager. Chen only talks to VPs." "But your ideas seem valuable." "Even if they were valuable, I can't reach him. The company hierarchy is very rigid. Chen is very distant, unreachable." The man stopped and looked at Sarah. "Suppose you had the chance to tell him right now, what would you say?" Sarah thought. "I would tell him to listen to his employees. Get out of the ivory tower and see the real world. The company is sinking and you don't even realize it." "Would you say it that harshly?" "Of course, someone needs to tell him the truth. But of course, no one dares. Everyone is afraid of losing their job." The man smiled. "Aren't you afraid?" "I'm afraid, of course. But it can't continue like this. Either there will be change or I'll find another company." "Another company? Where are you thinking?" Sarah got excited. "Actually, I got an offer from Mitchell & Associates last week. They're offering a 40% salary increase." The man's eyebrows rose. "Wow, that's a big increase. Are you thinking of accepting it?" "I'm seriously considering it. There seems to be no future for me here. This company can't progress under Chen's management." "Is there a special reason you think so negatively about Chen?" Sarah took a deep breath. "Actually, I've never even seen him. I just read his emails and see the results of his decisions. But that's enough." "You've never met face to face?" Of course not. He doesn't meet with people at my level. I've been here for 14 months. We haven't spoken a single word. The man looked thoughtful. Maybe you're misunderstanding him? Sarah was surprised. How am I misunderstanding him? The results are obvious. But maybe you don't know why he made these decisions. What difference does it make? The result is the same. Employees are unhappy. The company is facing difficulties. The man checked the elevator panel. How have you been thinking like this? Since Chen became CEO, so for the last 2 years. Has the company had no successes in these 2 years? Sarah hesitated. Well, there were some successes, but those were because of the team's efforts, not Chen's. Are you sure? Maybe his strategies were behind those successes? What strategies? The man doesn't share any strategic vision with us. The man smiled. Maybe he does share, but you don't hear it? Sarah got annoyed. What do you mean I don't hear it? I'm the marketing director. I attend important meetings. But you just said you've never talked to him. Sarah thought. The man was right. True, but upper management normally informs us. What if they don't? This question made Sarah think. Indeed, sometimes the information coming from upper management was incomplete. The man continued working. Which of Chen's decisions bothered you the most? The marketing budget cut. He gave no explanation. Did you know the financial situation of the company at that time? Sarah hesitated. Well, not exactly. That information isn't shared with us. Then how can you say it was a wrong decision? Sarah felt uncomfortable. Because marketing is important enough that the budget shouldn't be cut. But what if the company had more critical problems at that moment? What kind of problems? The man stopped and looked at her. How many years have you been working at this company? 14 months. Did you learn the company's history in 14 months? A little. Why? When Chen's father passed away, the company was in a very difficult situation. It was almost going to go bankrupt. Sarah was surprised. How do you know this? As a technician, I work in many companies. People talk. Chen had to make very tough decisions to save the company. What decisions? Salary freezes, budget cuts, closing some departments, but the company stayed afloat. Sarah began to think. How do you know these things? As I said, I work a lot in this building. People talk comfortably with technicians. We're like invisible. This comment made Sarah uncomfortable. Invisible? Yes, you're also talking to me now because I'm just a technician. Would you talk this comfortably if I were the CEO? Sarah thought. The man was right. Maybe not. That's why Chen probably doesn't know what his employees really think. Everyone would speak carefully around him. But that's his fault. If he were a good leader, people would feel comfortable. Or maybe people are approaching with prejudice. You judged him without ever knowing him. Sarah was about to get angry at this comment, but stopped. She realized the man was speaking logically. Well, have you ever seen Chen? She asked. Yes, a few times. What's he like? The man thought. He looks tired, as if he's carrying a very heavy burden, but he's respectful toward employees. Respectful? How do you understand that? He speaks politely even with technicians. He thanks us, asks our names. This is very rare. Sarah was surprised. Really? Yes. Most upper management ignores us, but he's different. This is not what I expected. The man smiled. Maybe there are many things you don't know about him. It's possible, Sarah said thoughtfully. The man continued working. So what kind of projects do you do in your marketing department? Sarah described her projects. The man asked questions and made suggestions. Sarah noticed that the man was surprisingly knowledgeable about marketing. Are you just a technician? She asked. Why did you ask? You know a lot about marketing. The man smiled. I'm a curious person. I read about different topics. What topics? Business management, leadership, marketing, finance. While working in this building, I listen to people and learn. Sarah was impressed. That's great. Have you ever thought about switching to another career? Sometimes, but I love my current job. I meet people, solve problems. But there could be better opportunities economically. The man thought, money isn't everything. Job satisfaction is more important. This comment impressed Sarah. You have a very different perspective. So do you. It's obvious you really care about your company. Yes, I do care. This company has potential, but you think it can't realize this under Chen's management. Yes, unfortunately. The man stopped and looked at her. What if Chen isn't the person you think he is? What do you mean? What if he also cares about the company and is trying to make the right decisions? Sarah thought. Then why doesn't he communicate with us? Maybe he's trying to communicate but can't find the right way. Is this possible? Very possible. Leadership isn't easy, especially when you take on such big responsibility at a young age. Sarah's perspective began to change. I never thought about it from this angle. Most people don't. Leaders are also human. They can make mistakes too. But shouldn't he do better as a CEO? Of course, but maybe he needs help. What kind of help? Honest opinions from people like you. Sarah laughed. My opinion? I don't even know him. But you know the company, you know the market. That's valuable. Do you think Chen would listen to my ideas? I don't know, but you need to drop your prejudices before trying. Sarah thought, you're right, I judged him without ever knowing him. This is normal, but now there's an opportunity. What kind of opportunity? The man smiled, but didn't answer. Instead, he checked the elevator panel. Almost done, a few more minutes. Sarah was relieved, but also sad that this conversation was ending. It was really good talking to you. I learned a lot. Me too. You're a very passionate and intelligent manager. Thank you. You're also very knowledgeable. The man made final adjustments. Ready. The elevator will work. Great. Thank you. By the way, I didn't get your name. The man hesitated. David? David? What a coincidence. Our CEO's name is also David. The man smiled but said nothing. The elevator began to move. Sarah was going to the floor where her meeting was. David, thank you again. This conversation was very valuable. For me, too. The elevator reached the 45th floor and stopped. The doors opened. As Sarah was leaving, she turned around. Maybe we'll see each other again. I'm sure we will, David said with a smile. Sarah walked down the corridor thinking what that technician, David, had said was bothering her. Maybe she was wrong about CEO Chen. She entered the meeting room. Other managers were waiting there. Sorry I'm late. The elevator broke down. No problem, Sarah, said the VP of Marketing. Actually, we have a special guest at our meeting today. Special guest? Yes, CEO David Chen will be with us. He wants to interact more with employees. Sarah's heart began beating rapidly. David Chen? Yes, he'll be here soon. By the way, he wants to get your ideas about marketing strategy. Sarah panicked. She remembered how badly she had spoken about Chen in the elevator just moments ago. The door opened and a man entered. Sarah turned, and when she saw him, her breath caught. Standing in front of her was David, the technician from the elevator. But now he was wearing a suit. His hair was combed, and he was CEO David Chen. Sarah's world collapsed. She had spent an hour in the elevator complaining to David Chen about himself. When David saw her, he smiled. Hello, Sarah. Is the elevator working? Sarah couldn't speak. She could only nod. Does everyone know each other? Said the VP. Sarah, this is CEO David Chen. David, this is our marketing director, Sarah Mitchell. David extended his hand. Pleased to meet you, Sarah. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. Sarah shook his hand tremblingly. Me too. Great. Then let's start our meeting. Sarah, I'd like to hear your ideas about your marketing strategy. Sarah was still in shock, but composed herself. Of course, sir. Throughout the meeting, David was very calm and professional. He showed no negativity towards Sarah. He listened to her ideas, asked questions, and made suggestions. Sarah, meanwhile, kept remembering the elevator conversation. Every question from David made her more tense. After the meeting, David approached her. Sarah, can I speak with you privately? Sarah's heart sank. Of course, sir. After the others left, they were alone. Sarah, first I want to apologize, David said. Sarah was surprised. Why are you apologizing? For not telling you my identity in the elevator. That wasn't honest. Sarah bowed her head in shame. Sir, No, you were right. Everything you said was true. Sarah was shocked. How? I really don't communicate enough with my employees. You stated this very clearly. But I spoke very disrespectfully. David smiled. You spoke honestly. That's what I needed. I don't understand. Sarah, as CEO, my biggest problem is that no one tells me the truth, that everyone tries to make me happy. But you told me your real thoughts in the elevator. Sarah was still ashamed. But I didn't know you. I judged you unfairly. Maybe, but you had some valid points. I really was staying away from employees. Why? David thought. Because I didn't trust myself. My father's legacy was very heavy. I was afraid of making mistakes. But I heard you were very successful. In terms of numbers, yes. But I failed in terms of people. Your words helped me understand this. Sarah began to relax. Really? Yes. That's why I have an offer for you. What kind of offer? Would you like to be my special advisor? Sarah's mouth fell open. What? I want you to help me from the employee's perspective about how we can improve the company. But I'm just a marketing director, but you have very valuable opinions. And most importantly, you have the courage to tell me the truth. Sarah thought, this is an incredible opportunity. Do you accept? Yes, of course yes. David smiled. Great, then let's meet in my office tomorrow morning. Okay, but can I ask something? Sure. Were you really working as a technician? David laughed. No, but sometimes I walk around the building, observing employees. When the elevator broke down, I went to check if the technician had come. When I saw you there, I thought it was an opportunity. Very clever. Or very desperate. I had to resort to such methods to learn how my employees see me. Sarah smiled. You don't have to resort to them anymore. I'll always be honest with you. I trust that. By the way, you're not accepting that Mitchell & Associates offer, are you? Sarah was surprised. You remember that too? I remember every word. It was a very valuable conversation. No, I'm not accepting that offer. Now I have a reason to stay here. David was pleased. Great, then we'll meet tomorrow. As Sarah left, she was thinking. She had started the day as an employee who hated David Chen. Now she was his special advisor. The next day, Sarah went to David's office. It was on the top floor of the company and had an amazing view. Welcome, Sarah, David said. Coffee? Thank you. They sat down and David opened a file. After we talked yesterday, I thought, I want to implement your suggestions. Which suggestions? Communicating more with employees, going to the field, learning real problems. Sarah got excited. This is great, but I need your help for this. What do you think we should start with? Sarah thought. Maybe we could start with department visits. You could go to each department and talk to employees. Good idea. But would they be comfortable talking around me? They might struggle at first, but when they see you're sincere, they'll open up. How can I show I'm sincere? First, listen. Don't try to talk. Just listen. David took notes. What else? Ask questions, but not judgmental, curious questions. For example, instead of how could this be better, ask what would you do if you were in charge? David liked it. Very good. Other suggestions? Sarah gained courage. You could implement an open door policy. 1 day a week, anyone can come directly to you. Isn't this risky? Too many people might come. It might happen at first, but it will balance out over time. David thought. Let's try it. What else? You should also meet with customers. Go to the field and listen to real customer feedback. This is very valuable. I'm noting it down. For the next few hours, Sarah and David talked about the company's future. David was very impressed by Sarah's ideas. Sarah, you have incredible vision, David said. Thank you. But these are just ideas. Implementation is the real challenge. Then let's implement them together. In the following weeks, Sarah and David worked together. They made department visits, talked to employees, went to customer meetings. At first, employees were tense when they saw David, but when they saw that David was sincere and really listening, they began to open up. During this process, Sarah realized that David was actually a very good leader. He just didn't know the right approach. A month later, there had been major changes in the company. Employee morale had risen, productivity had increased. David was no longer seen as a distant CEO by employees, but as an approachable leader. Sarah's role had also changed. She was no longer just a marketing director, but also David's strategic advisor. Her salary had been increased accordingly. One day, David gave Sarah important news. Sarah, I want to tell you something. What is it? I mentioned your work at the board meeting. They were very impressed. Sarah was pleased. That's good news. But the real news is this. We're thinking of promoting you to VP marketing position. Sarah was shocked. Really? But I'm too young for this position. Age doesn't matter. Talent matters. You're very talented. David, I don't know what to say. Just saying yes is enough. Sarah smiled. Then yes. Sarah's team colleagues were very happy when they heard about the promotion. Everyone thought Sarah deserved this position. But Sarah still had that elevator conversation in her mind. She was thinking about how wrong her prejudices against David were. One day she asked David, Was us getting stuck in the elevator that day a coincidence? David smiled. Half and half. What do you mean? The elevator breaking down was coincidence, but me being there in technician disguise wasn't. Sarah was surprised. So it was planned? Partially. I sometimes walk around the building in different disguises to observe employees. This is very clever. Or very paranoid, but it works, Sarah thought. Who else have you talked to like this? A few people, but you were the most honest. I was probably also the harshest. David laughed. Yes, you were the harshest, but also the most helpful. How helpful? You showed me the truth. I really was a problematic CEO, but you helped me change that. Sarah was pleased. I was just honest. That's why I promoted you. Honesty is very valuable. 6 months passed. Sarah was very successful in her new position. Her work with David also continued. The company's situation continued to improve. Employee satisfaction reached its highest level. Customer satisfaction also increased. One day, Sarah was presenting a report to David about the company's situation. Employee satisfaction has risen to 85%. This is well above the industry average. David was pleased. Great, customer satisfaction? That's also 82%, a 15% increase from last year. Financial situation? Very good. There's 12% growth this quarter. David smiled. Sarah, all of this is thanks to you. No, it's teamwork. Everyone changed because you changed. I was able to change because you showed me the right way, Sarah thought. I was very angry that day in the elevator. I noticed. But now I'm very happy, both in my job and in my life. Me too. That elevator malfunction was good for both of us. Sarah laughed. Who knows? Maybe it was fate. Maybe. That evening, as Sarah went home, she was thinking how her life had changed. In the morning, she woke up working with the CEO she hated and enjoying it. The next day, David's assistant called Sarah. Sarah, Mr. Chen wants to see you urgently. Sarah worried. Is there a problem? I don't know, but he wants you to come immediately. Sarah went to David's office. David looked serious. Sarah, sit down. There's something important I want to discuss with you. Sarah tensed. What is it? The company is in very good shape. This is largely due to your contribution. Sarah relaxed. Thank you. But this success has brought new opportunities. What kind of opportunities? David took out a paper from his file. We're opening a new branch in Boston. It's a very big project. Sarah got excited. This is great. Yes, and we're looking for someone to manage this branch. Who are you thinking of? David looked at Sarah. You. Sarah was shocked. Me? Yes, you're the only person who can do this job. But this is a very big responsibility. You're ready, I'm sure. Sarah thought, do I need to move to Boston? Yes. You need to stay there for at least 2 years. This is a very big change. David understood. I know, it's not an easy decision. I can give you time to think. How much time? A week? Sarah nodded. Okay, I'll give you an answer within a week. That night, Sarah sat in her apartment thinking. This was a huge opportunity, but also a big risk. Going to Boston meant ending her work with David. But at the same time, it would be a big step for her own career. A week later, Sarah made her decision. She went to David's office. I've made my decision, she said. I'm listening. I accept. David was pleased. Great. Congratulations. Thank you. But I have one condition. What is it? You must also come to Boston from time to time. Let's run the project together. David smiled. Of course, I was planning that anyway. Then we have a deal. 2 months later, Sarah moved to Boston. The new branch project began. David kept his promise and came to Boston regularly. Sarah was very successful in Boston too. The new branch performed above expectations. A year later, David brought Sarah a new offer. Sarah, the general manager position of the company is opening. General manager? Yes, right under me, you'll manage all operations, Sarah thought. This means returning to New York. Yes, if you want. David, this is an incredible offer. You deserve this, Sarah smiled. Then I accept. Sarah returned to New York and became general manager. She was now the second highest executive in the company. Her work with David became even closer. They managed the company together. One day, Sarah asked David, David, have you ever regretted it, promoting me? Why would I regret it? Because now I could be your rival. David laughed. You're not my rival. You're my partner. Partner? Yes, we managed this company together. I couldn't succeed without you. Sarah was impressed. This is very meaningful. Do you feel the same way? Yes, we're a good team. Only in business? This question surprised Sarah. What do you mean? David hesitated. Sarah, I feel like we haven't just established a business relationship. Sarah's heart raced. David, I've fallen in love with you, Sarah. Sarah was shocked. What? I know this is a complicated situation, but I can't hide my feelings anymore. Sarah thought. She had also noticed she had special feelings for David, but she had interpreted these as business relationships. David, I also feel special things for you. David became hopeful. Really? Yes, but this is very complex. Why? Because we're business partners. This could affect our relationship. David thought, you're right, but can't we take this risk? Sarah thought for a long time. We can't. David was saddened. I understand. But this doesn't mean my feelings disappear. Then what will we do? Sarah smiled. We'll wait. Maybe the situation will change in the future. David nodded. I can wait. Another year passed. Sarah and David's business relationship was perfect. They had also become very close friends personally. The company became first in the sector that year. This was a great success. At the celebration party, David gave a speech. This success isn't the work of one person, but I especially want to thank Sarah Mitchell. We couldn't be here without her. Everyone applauded Sarah. Sarah was moved. After the party, Sarah and David were alone. Thank you, Sarah said. I thank you. You changed my life. You changed mine too. David looked at Sarah. Sarah, now the situation is different. We're both in the upper management of the company. We're at equal levels now. Sarah understood. What do you mean? Can't we take the risk now? Sarah thought. David was right. The situation had really changed. Maybe we can. David approached. Sarah, would you like to go out with me? Sarah smiled. Yes. Their first date went very well. They already knew each other very well. Over the following months, their relationship developed. They were partners in business life and also in private life. A year later, David proposed to Sarah. Sarah, will you marry me? Sarah started crying. Yes! Their wedding was a big organization attended by company employees. Everyone supported this union. In her wedding speech, Sarah said, my meeting with David started with an elevator malfunction. That day, I was very prejudiced against him, but he patiently approached me and together we achieved great things, both in business life and in our private life. David also added in his speech, Sarah taught me to be honest. She taught me to listen to my employees, and most importantly, she taught me love. After the wedding, they continued to manage the company together. They were both great business partners and a happy couple. 2 years later, Sarah became pregnant. Both were very happy. What do you think our baby will be like? Sarah asked. I hope she has your intelligence and my patience, David said. Or your intelligence and my impatience, Sarah said, laughing. When their baby was born, they named her Emily. Emily was a very cute and intelligent baby. Sarah took maternity leave, but her work with David continued. She continued to contribute to the company by working from home. One day, Sarah asked David, David, do you ever think about that elevator day? Every day. Do you regret playing that game? David thought. No, because it showed us the truth. Both me and you. What truth? How bad a CEO I was. How valuable a person you are. Sarah smiled. I also learned a lot that day. What? How dangerous prejudice is, that you shouldn't judge people without knowing them. This was a valuable lesson for both of us. Yes, and now we're here. David took Sarah's hand. We're here, together. As Emily grew, it became clear she was a very intelligent child. She had taken characteristics from both her mother and father. One day, 5-year-old Emily asked her mother, Mom, where did you and Dad meet? Sarah and David looked at each other. We met in an elevator, sweetheart, Sarah said. In an elevator? That's romantic. David laughed. Yes, it was very romantic. How? Sarah began to tell. The elevator broke down and we got stuck inside. Emily was fascinated. Then what happened? Then we talked a lot and we got to know each other. Was it love at first sight? Sarah and David looked at each other again. No, sweetheart, David said. It was an argument at first sight. Emily laughed. An argument? Yes, but then we realized we were both right. How can both be right? Sarah explained, because sometimes people look at the same thing from different angles. Both can be true. Emily thought, I understand, then you made up. Yes, we made up, and we became very happy. Emily was pleased. I want to meet someone in an elevator, too. Sarah and David chuckled. That night, Sarah and David talked. You know, Sarah said, I learned a lot from that elevator day. Me too. What was the most important lesson, do you think? Sarah thought, the power of listening. You really listened to me that day. You also told me the truth. That was valuable. And we both changed. Yes, we became better people. Sarah hugged David. Good thing that elevator broke down. Good thing you were angry that day. Good thing you were in technician disguise. David smiled. Good thing we were both open-minded. And now we're here. As a beautiful family of 3. Sarah was happy. Yes. Perfect. That night, Sarah dreamed of that elevator day again. But this time, she wasn't angry. She was grateful, because that day had been the beginning of the most beautiful period of her life. David was also having similar dreams. That elevator malfunction had been fate for both of them. Years passed. Emily grew up and started school. Sarah and David were still managing the company together. The company had now become the industry leader. And behind this success was Sarah and David's perfect harmony. One day at the company's 10th anniversary celebration, David gave a speech. 10 years ago, this company was in a very different place. The reason we're here today is teamwork. I especially thank my wife and business partner, Sarah. Sarah also added in her speech, David and I met in a very different way, but that meeting taught us that differences give strength. Together we can achieve anything. After the celebration, Sarah and David went to that old elevator. It had now been repaired and was working without problems. Shall we get on this elevator? David asked. Sure, Sarah said with a smile. They got in and David pressed the button. Where are we going this time? Sarah asked. To the future, David said. As the elevator went up, both remembered that first day, how much they had changed. David, Sarah said, I want to tell you something. What? I was very harsh to you that day. I still regret it. David smiled. I'm grateful. That harshness changed me. Really? Yes. If you hadn't been there, I would still be a bad CEO. You were never bad, you just needed guidance. You weren't prejudiced either. You were just honest. The elevator reached the top floor. The doors opened. Are you ready? David asked. Ready for what? For the rest of our lives. Sarah smiled. I'm ready for anything with you. And so they exited the elevator, together happy and full of future. That elevator malfunction had only lasted one day, but its effects would last a lifetime.